Hi everyone, welcome to Buckle Up Podcast. I'm Natalia Earle and I'm a certified business and life coach that loves talking to people. I'm fascinated by humans and how our brain works. What is it that makes a decision good or bad, and how does that decision ultimately shape our path and destiny? Everyone loves to talk about success, but what about the flip side? How about adversity? Failure is such a big and often necessary part of life, and it's simply unavoidable. So I invite you to join me on this inspiring, honest, unpolished interview show with breathtakingly real conversations that go deep on setbacks and hardships that are part of the puzzle that ultimately lead to growth, discovery of inner greatness, and what makes us resilient. Grab your helmet and buckle up, people. It's going to be a bumpy ride. But what a ride it will be. Today I sat down with my dear friend Shannon Carlson, whose life has been a bumpy road. What has gotten her through her life journey thus far is her faith. She's thankful for her career as a nurse for over 20 years. She's married the love of her life twice, and she's beyond blessed with 3 amazing children who inspire her to be a better person every single day. She's a stage 3 cancer survivor, a lover of Jesus, family and friends, and a believer that being kind is what's going to change this world. Well, hi, Shannon. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you arrive at the place where you are today?
I think to start out is I always have to talk about my faith because it's so much a part of my journey and it has made me who I am today. With life experience, my birthday's on Friday, so I'll be 44 years
Happy
old.
birthday.
Yeah, thank you. And I think we all have been on quite a journey, but the journey that I have been on has definitely made me who I am today and has made my faith stronger. And um, it's just life. So I think to kind of describe it in a nutshell is that I got married at a really young age. We had 3 children and kind of journeyed through life. During that, we had some up and downs, and we didn't take care of our marriage, and we ended up actually getting divorced. And then we're still really good friends and co-parented really well together. And one day I can remember it like it was yesterday. I was on my way to work, and um, I just had this really overwhelming feeling. And prior to this, like, I have always believed in God, and He's been very, very present in my life, but I didn't really know what that looked like, right? So my journey through faith has been it just gets deeper and deeper the older that I get. And so I was on my way to work, and I just had this overwhelming feeling that I needed to call Bob, who is now my husband again. And the first words out of my mouth were, "Do you ever feel like you're going against God's plan?" I don't know where they came from. I don't know what that was like, but at that very moment, God placed reconciliation on my heart. And so I met Bob when I was 19. And I think the first time we were married for 15 years, something like that. And we had been divorced at this time for a year or 2. But, I said that to him, and he didn't know quite how to respond. He was like, I don't know, because we had never talked about reconciliation. We very much kept our relationship to co-parenting, but during this time we were rebuilding it and we were becoming friends again. So um he opened his heart to reconciliation. We counseled with our pastor and his wife. They had very much been a staple to our whole journey. We had went through marriage retreats and counseled with them prior to our divorce. And so we, just met with them, and I shared with them what was placed on my heart. And um, I remember Barb was pastor's wife's name, and she just said, this is going to be like putting scrambled eggs back together. And to hear that, I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but And then in March, I started having, and I was physically pretty healthy. I mean, at that time I was 41 and didn't have a lot of major things, but I started to physically not feel the best. And so, and I ended up getting a blood clot that landed me in the hospital. And a long story short, I was in the hospital for, so March of, I don't even know, it was probably, what is it now? Probably March of 2018 or 2019. Um, I can't remember the dates, but it was a couple years ago. And so through that journey, they fixed the blood clot, but I left the hospital finding out that I had stage 3 colon cancer. But this is again how God works, and He just places things in your life, and um, for things to happen, So
Mm-hmm.
um, I had been having, so to kind of provide a little bit of education about colon cancer, is that I don't have a family history. So they did a whole bunch of genetic testing, and cancer can come from all kinds of things. We very much have cancer in our family, but stress, not taking care of yourself, all these things. And not that Justin's death absolutely didn't cause the cancer, but I can almost guarantee you that it made the tumor grow, right? Because I was
For
so
sure.
broken. And sometimes really listening, because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we might ask, but we might not want to hear what that answer is, right? So
For
it's like
sure.
really listening of what does this next chat, what sacrifice do I have to make to get to this next point? Because it always takes work on our part too.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm one of those people, like I always tell God, like I don't see signs clearly. Like you really have to tell me, like you have to be so direct. And that's how everything happens to me. When it comes hard, it comes fast. It like my life always takes turns that I can't get out of it. Like the way he directs me to go certain ways, it's just like, okay, I'm on this path. We are going. And like what I went through last year through going to California, trying to expand my business and coming back, like if this was 5, 6 years ago, I would be miserable. I would be like, oh my gosh, I just spent so much money. And why me? Why is this happening to me? But now I'm like, okay, these doors are closing, but God is opening something so much better and bigger
Yeah.
for me. Right. So I started this podcast. I started more coaching. So, but now I've learned to be fluid and liquid like
Yeah.
water, to go with the flow. And I think
Yeah.
once you understand that, instead of trying to go against it, to go with the flow, it's a game changer. It
Yeah.
really makes life so much more simple.
It does. And just life experience, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, the same for me, of just like I said, when this whole journey started, when God put reconciliation on my heart, I mean, I did not have any other choice. And it's so hard for me to explain, but it was that black and white. Like,
If you could give one advice to someone that's kind of in the same journey as you right now, or going through the same life lessons as you, what would they be?
my number one is to feel that emotion, whatever
Mhm.
it is. If it's hurt, if it's happiness, if it's anger, you have to give yourself time to feel that emotion in that moment. And I know with grief, and kind of like you said, everybody handles grief differently, but I am a firm believer that if you put it up on a shelf somewhere, if you try not to, that it's going to come back sideways. It's going to come back at a moment when you least expect it. And then you're going to be like, what in the world? Like, where is this coming from? So whatever that emotion is, you have to feel it. You have to work through it. You have to get the help that you need, whether it's to join a support group, talk to a therapist, talk to friends, but you have to work through that hard stuff. Life is hard, and I promise you, if you work through it and if you can get to the other side, your growth during that is going to be pretty dang cool.